Welcome to Tibra's Den, everyone, and welcome to today's speed build. Merry Christmas if you do celebrate. The day I am posting this is Christmas, and I'm going to be chilling at home in my jammies with my husband. I hope whatever Christmas looks like this year to you, that you do have a great day, and if you don't celebrate, I hope you have a great day anyway. And so right now, we are doing the speed build for Santa and Mrs. Claus, who we created on Monday. If you have not seen that video, please check it out. I will leave it linked in the description below, as well as at the end of this video, as always. So right here, you can see I already had the shell done, and now I'm just working on placing items. I'm in the debug menu. I knew I wanted a sleigh, so I'm trying to put down anything that I thought I could make work for a sleigh, and then this is where the reindeers take off and come home. And so I was just trying to find anything that I thought might work for this area, and because of that, I ended up having to scrap this whole lot. I had to bulldoze the whole lot because there was a debug item I placed down and it would not let me delete it. I tried to bury it in the terrain and it just raised it up. I tried to build around it and then delete that room. It would not delete for the life of me. And so what I did, because I pretty much had the reindeer area and the sleigh area done, and so what I ended up doing is I saved those rooms to my library, and then I bulldozed a lot and I just placed down those rooms. I didn't worry about saving any of the other rooms because I really hadn't done much to them, so I wasn't really worried about having to rebuild or anything like that. But it was really frustrating that I lost all that work. And the reindeer area too, because I put in the spindles and columns, it ended up not keeping their little stall areas. So I just had the base of the room, which was also a little bit frustrating. But like I said, at least the majority of what I had put down was saved, and so the rest wasn't a big deal to go back in. And because I had to kind of play around in here, I already had an idea of what wallpaper I wanted to use, what windows, what doors, and so it was really easy to just go back in and create it. And I actually did a few tweaks that I wouldn't necessarily have done if I didn't have to bulldoze the lot. So it did work out in the end, but it was super frustrating because I couldn't delete those items and I had already done all this work. And so I don't know why certain debug items you cannot delete. It's so frustrating, and it just makes me so mad sometimes. And so I'm definitely, this is the first time this has happened to me, and so I'm definitely going to have to be more careful about debug and just putting items down. I like to do that because the debug menu is such a mess, and so I like to just put down items that I think I might use. But if you can't move them or delete them later, it's really frustrating. And so I think in the future I'm just gonna put down items as I want to use them, even though that's also really annoying and frustrating as well. But in the end, it's better than having to bulldoze your whole lot. So, yeah, we'll see if I end up with this problem in the future. But I really had a lot of fun. I wish I could have done a little bit more with this lot. I put down some gnomes as elves, but there really wasn't a good variety that fit the Christmas theme. So that was a little frustrating for me, and I didn't or wasn't able to put down anything that resembled reindeer either, which was also a bit frustrating. They have the little reindeer statues, but they're not very realistic. And so, I would have liked to put some reindeer in the stalls as well. These bridges right here, because they have the part that extends out, and that's what I was thinking I could use for the sleigh, and they were the ones that I could not delete. So, but yeah, I would have liked to have some reindeer and some more realistic looking elves. And like I said on Monday's video, I might go in at some point, probably even next year for Christmas, and create some elves. Or if I get better at manipulating dogs, I might create some reindeer as well. And so they'll at least be around the lot running around, But I was so glad I was able to find these sleighs though, because they are perfect for Santa's sleigh. Well, I wouldn't say perfect, but they're definitely a lot closer than anything else that I found. And I thought the chopsticks made perfect um, little, what are they called, runners or something like that for the sleigh. And so they were nice, but I only put down two, thinking I was only going to do one sleigh, and I ended up doing two, one in each color. Figure Santa might like his options. And so I ended up having to go back through the debug menu, and actually those end up getting deleted somehow, and so I had to go back through the debug menu to find them again. So I go through again here to try to find more for the second sleigh, and then I have to go through again later to find them because they end up getting deleted. So this was definitely a big project, and it took me a couple days, I'm not gonna lie. I think overall I spent 3 days on this project, just because it was not gonna get done all in one sitting at all. And so it was definitely a big project and a little bit frustrating, but now that it's done, I am really happy to have it in my world. And I hope as I get better, I can go back in and renovate this and make it even better. So definitely be on the lookout next year for a renovation and some added characters to this build, because this is by no means complete at all. It's just complete enough for now. But here you can see I'm just trying to delete, and then we jump forward to when I had bulldozed a lot and I placed back down the rooms. And another thing I was having a lot of trouble with was I wasn't able to connect rooms. I was having to delete one room and redo it, and like I said, it wasn't a huge deal since the reindeer room wasn't complete anyway. To delete that, I did have to move out a bunch of the objects and get them out of there, but it wasn't a huge deal that I had to delete it because I had already lost some of it anyway. The main room that I was worried about was the sleigh room, and fortunately all was good there other than the chopsticks disappeared, which again, not a huge deal, other than a little bit more time spent trying to find them. And then, of course, over here, we are going to have the elf area where they create the toys, and then they store all the toys they've completed. So you'll see that. I think that's one of the last little bits that I do. Well, no, that's probably the middle bit I do. I think I do Santa's actual house last, but now, just trying to get it symmetric, and how I like it. And now we got to rebuild Santa's house. And so right there is going to be the kitchen. I knew I wanted a huge kitchen for Mrs. Claus, and I wanted to put the bakery cupcake maker thing in there as well. And so she has a wonderful kitchen. I think that's my favorite part of the whole build, which again, you will see that a little bit later. I'm pretty sure I do this section last. And so you have a bit to go before you see that. And I know this video is longer, but it was a lot of work. So I hope you guys will stay tuned through the end. What I like to do for longer videos, because I actually really like watching long videos on YouTube, I like to have it in the background while I'm doing something else. And so most of the time as I'm editing videos, or I'm on the computer, or even if I'm doing something with the dogs, or I always have videos playing in the background, and that way I can support the YouTubers that I'm watching but still be able to get stuff done, which is one of the reasons why I like longer videos. I don't like to have to stop and change videos frequently. I like to just have it playing in the background. But yeah, this is the little area. I think it's super cute. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And like I said, I already had an idea of kind of what I wanted to go with, since I had already pretty much done this part of the build, and this is my second time attempting it. But yeah, I think it's really cute, and I was able to find some good decorations. I wish there was a little bit more for like the inside of the house, and I probably could have done a little bit more with the inside, but I think by that point I was just tired. Which, if you've seen previous videos, that's one of my biggest weaknesses is I start getting tired and I get really, really impatient with the build. So mad props to those builders out there that spend so much time on the tedious details. I know how much work it is, and it's not always fun. I mean, I know some people really probably enjoy it to a certain extent, but it is still tedious and frustrating sometimes. And so I'm trying to get better at being patient and, not trying to rush my builds, but at the same time, I'm always ready to move on to the next project. And so, like I said, after I probably do my save file, I'm definitely going to be going back in and renovating and adding those touches that I was too impatient or I didn't think of when I was building the first time. And then I have these starlights, which I like. The only thing I don't like about them is they are pretty low to the ground. And so in real life, you would be running into them all the time, which isn't a problem for the elves because they're short, but Santa is probably knocking his head into the lights quite a bit. So but here we're working on the reindeer stalls again for the second time. And this time, though, I have 9 stalls. So Rudolph has a stall as well. And I figure any of the other reindeer probably just wander about the village. Like, they are not confined. These stalls are for Santa's elite team that pull the sleigh. They have a nice, warm, comfy place to rest up, prepare for Christmas, and then when they get back home to rest after their hard work. So that's what the stalls are for, and that's why there's only 9. Obviously, if I had all the room in the world and the want to, I would create like a massive reindeer barn with a huge number of stalls, and Santa's elite team wouldn't be the only ones that would be in there. They would have some in training and things like that. But for this build, it's just about the elite members of Santa's crew. So this part right here, I struggled with the carpet so much. Like, that was probably the hardest part of this build is the carpet, because I didn't want it to be too much. I wanted it to definitely scream Christmas and have that vibe about it, but I didn't want it to be too over the top and kind of gaudy either, which was a bit of a challenge. But I think, like I said, I like how it pulled together in the end. This is one of my other favorite parts besides the kitchen, is I put these pre-strung tree lights for the path of the reindeers when they take off and when they come back home. Kind of like airports have the landing strip. That is the Santa landing strip right there. Which originally, if you saw, at the beginning, I had those lights like all the way around the village. But in the end, I decided to reserve them just for the landing strip, and that way the reindeer knew exactly where to land and take off from, things like that. So and now we are decorating the buildings with snowflakes, which I do this to all the buildings. I cut that out because it took a while. I'm not going to lie. It took a while. I think the total time before I sped everything up and cut everything out was over 10 hours. It was somewhere between 10 and 11. I think closer to the 11 hour end, and which is ridiculous for a build. But like I said, part of that was I had to scrap, which I think the part I had to scrap was 2 or 3 hours of that. So I'm pretty sure like around 2 hours, 2.5. But a lot of work went into this build. So definitely let me know what you think. If you have any tips, please let me know. Like I said, I'm trying to get better, and so I'm not going to get better if I don't get tips from you guys. I mean, I do watch others, and just the process of doing the builds is helping a lot as well. But tips and tricks are always appreciated, and and feedback is more than welcome. So let me know what you think. But I like the snowflakes. I think they really broke up the red. The solid red kind of gave a different look. And it's just decorative and festive, I think. I thought about putting those garlands up, but in the end, I didn't like how they looked, so I ended up scrapping them. I think I put them inside a little bit, in like their bedroom or something like that. But I do end up scrapping them here because I wasn't liking how they looked. You can see I'm trying to put them everywhere. I just wanted it to be festive and happy, but like I said, in the end I didn't really like how it looks, so I just put them up top in the eaves there a little bit. So but yeah, like I said, I was just trying everything. Kind of it puked Christmas here for sure. So, and I do end up putting like a couple of hot drink stalls and this ice rink. And I'm glad I watched Claire and she did the snow globe one build. I think it's been like a couple weeks now, but she did a snow globe and she had talked about the ice ring and the banners on them. And so I'm glad I had watched that video because as soon as I put down the ice ring, I knew I wanted to cover those banners up. And so I did the same thing that she did and just kind of covered them up, because it doesn't give off the right vibe. It's too commercial, I would say. So that's thank you, Claire, for that. But yeah, and now I'm just trying to raise some of the train. I ended up flattening it a little bit because I was having problems with that, and so now I'm just trying to raise it up, and so it gives a little bit more character to the area for sure. And I also love the pine trees that I had found to put down as well. I like those better than the trees I originally had around the lot, which I just used because they matched the surrounding trees. But you can see here I'm using the nutcrackers and then these little banners to just go around and just cover everything up. It did, I had to tweak it a little bit and kind of overlap them a little bit, but overall I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. And either way, I think they're better than the original banners that were on there. And, on the sides at least, the nutcrackers definitely helped to kind of mask that a little bit as well. And I do put some gnomes on the ice, which looks a little bit silly, but I thought it would be cute, and I ended up leaving them. And then, of course, you have to have a little outside area. And fortunately, Snowy Escape had a lot of good items, and so I put the little outdoor fireplace and then the hot spring. I could see Santa and Mrs. Claus chilling in the hot springs, and just enjoying it and soaking their old bones for sure. And definitely had to go with the rock one. And then all the tables with the little fur pieces, I think, were perfect for this build. I absolutely love them. And yeah, there was just a lot of good items. I went heavily with Snowy Escape, the holiday items, and season items. Like, it's very heavy on that aspect. And that chair kept floating, so I had to delete it and then re-put it down because I couldn't get it to go back down. I guess I could have used the cheat button, but I didn't do that, so I ended up just putting it back down. But I could see them out here cozying up to the fire or going in the hot springs, or just having a little snack at the picnic table, just a little outdoor area for them. And now we're doing the spandrels again and the columns for the reindeer. I really liked how it looked, and so I wanted to do it again. I just went with the different ones, though. I went with these green ones. I think last time I had gold, if I recall right, like white and gold ones. I'm pretty sure I fixed that tree. I went around and fixed a lot of trees, so I know it's clipping right now. Please just ignore it because I do go back in and fix a lot of those. So, but yeah, it's looking really cute. And then I had to find the moss that I put down before. I wanted to try a few different items. So as I was going through stuff, I went through the actual game items. And then as I was going through debug, I tried a few other items just to see if I thought maybe they would work. But unfortunately, they didn't. I never did find the fur again. I meant to, but honestly, at this point, I was kind of tired of the debug item, and so I was originally going to put down the moss and then go back in and find the fur like I had originally done in the first version of this build, but I never did find the fur, so maybe that's something that will get added later on. We'll see. Or there was the rug too, the fox fur rug that came with the pack. I could have put those in here maybe, but either way, this is what it ended up as. I do find some like food like bowls, and then of course water buckets. You have to have those, which I found the food bowls when I was looking for the water buckets, so that was nice. And it looks like you have a little area for them to eat and drink, and they can just lay in the nice moss and be nice, comfy, and cozy, and like I said, rest up before their long trip and afterwards as well. And then of course you have to have a tree. I wanted a tree in every building, at least one tree in every building in this build. I don't know that I put a tree in the toy maker room though, which is unfortunate. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but I do put 2 trees in the present room where all the presents are done. So maybe that makes up for it. And there's 6 trees total in the sleigh room, so but lots of Christmas trees in this build. And then of course I love in the debug item all the snow pals and mounds and things like that. I had to put those all around for sure. And then I thought this made it a little bit more realistic, have the part where you would connect the reindeer, which is definitely a necessity. So debug items are very handy sometimes, even as frustrating as they are to find. They are very, very handy. So, and now I'm just putting back on my chopsticks since they disappeared. Gotta have those, gotta have where the sleigh lands and such. So, but yeah, it's just a cute little area. And like I said, I probably could have done more, but patience runs thin, and there was a lot. I mean, what I did was a lot, and these snow mounds worked nicely as well. So I put them kind of on the perimeter. I figured that inside of this build wouldn't have too much mounded snow, just little bits here and there. But for the most part, it would mound up on the external part of the build. So that's kind of what I went with, and it's super cute. I like it. But let me know what you guys think, like I said, and what your favorite thing about Santa is, and what you would do for his village if you were building it. What makes you think of Santa, like I think people have different kind of versions or ideas of him. There's different lores, and depending on where you live, kind of colors what you think, I think. So I've always been kind of interested in the different lores of Santa and Saint Nick, and just kind of the history of Santa Claus. I think it's really interesting, and I think he's one of those characters that kind of resonates with people no matter how old you are, which I just think is lovely. So, but now we are moving on to his workshop. I put a little flower arranging table. I was just trying to put anything that looked like maybe they would bake stuff on it. And I kind of like the idea of little flowers, Christmas flowers that they might make and give as presents as well. So I really like that idea. And then I'm just going through anything that I thought could be a present, I'm just putting down, And then I have the stacks of actual presents in that room there. And so this is where they make everything and kind of organize it and get it wrapped up. And then they take it to the other room to store until it's ready to go on the sleigh and be shipped out. So, and then of course I had to have the Christmas tables and woodworking tables, and I put a bunch of candle making stations, just any of the items in the game that you could craft on. That's what I was going for. And I thought about putting knitting in here as well, but I figured, and I could have used a lot of the nifty knitting stuff, but I didn't even touch it because all I did was give Mrs. Claus a little knitting, a little bit like the really tiny ones, the one you need in their inventory for them to knit, and then the box with like the yarn of the bunny. I didn't actually give her any of the other stuff, which it has like wrapping paper and stuff on it too, if I recall right. So I really could have put that in here, and so that might be an option when I do renovate. And then these are some custom content pieces from, I'm pretty sure, the Deligracy and Graham Cookies pack, one of them that I had downloaded. That's pretty much, I tried to be careful with the custom content. I wanted mostly in-game stuff, and what custom content I did use, I tried to use that it wouldn't matter if it wasn't there so much. That's kind of what I was trying to do, but yeah, I'm really kind of, now that I'm watching this back, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't use some of the nifty knitting stuff. Like it would have been perfect for this, and I just skipped right over it. I don't think it was giving me quite Christmassy vibes, and so I just kind of, I don't know. I don't know why I skipped over it, but like I said, there's that one table that has like wrapping paper and ribbons and such. So it's kind of a shame that I didn't do that. But it's over now, so all I can do is go back in and fix it at some point. And then I put some violins and of course all the stuffed animals. I think they would be a pretty popular item. And now you can see I'm putting gnomes down, and there's the main gnome I used was the one that's just kind of standing there because it was the most realistic one, and could kind of be used in different places more so than some of the other ones. Like the bear one, only so many gnomes are gonna act like bears, and then you have the bunny one. I don't see a bunch of gnomes being bunnies, and then the one that's kind of like lifting his beard and is all happy. That's like one stance, and so I don't see them, you having a bunch of gnomes doing that running around. So, I wish there was a little bit more options for gnomes, but it is what it is, and at least I have, some in. And then they're lining up to get some cookies from Mrs. Claus. I can, see them all lining up to get some baked goods. And here, those tables, I wanted to put little presents on them, but the stacks wouldn't stack on them, and I didn't really want to play with that. And so I ended up just putting like a centerpiece, and then it's like the pastry thing. I ended up putting that on there, and so Mrs. Claus would make sure the gnomes had full access to that as well if they were working and couldn't come around to get her cookies or anything like that. They would have access to that. She would make sure they were well stocked, and so you can see I'm just stacking presents everywhere. I put a couple of trees just to add to the festivities, and then I put one of the tables and a couple of chairs down as well. I think I put, how many chairs? Well, you'll see here in a second. Okay, I put 5 chairs down. Not that it matters exactly how many, but just place for them to kind of sit and relax. And then you can see I put the centerpiece there. Just like I said, I wanted to make it festive and fun, and sweets are definitely a part of Christmas, and so I wanted to add those in there, and just make it, like I said, a little bit more fun. And then I put some of these trees. They're kind of lackluster compared to the other trees, but I put them all around the place as well, and that way, like I said, I just wanted it to barf Christmas. Somebody threw up Christmas on this place for sure. So, and in the kitchen I ended up having to delete 2 of the trees, and so there's just 1 tree just because I needed room for other things, and so I wasn't able to fully do that as well. But now on to the bathrooms. I went with the blue color. I thought it was pretty and it worked nicely for this build. Ideally, obviously I would have gone red or green, but just the styles that had those colors and like the green color, it wasn't quite right. So I went with blue and I used the Snowy Escape toilet. I think it's cute, and so I used that. And silver towels, of course, you have to have those. But yeah, I think the bathrooms are cute, and the main bathrooms obviously for guests and everyone, and then they have their little ensuite bathroom. I almost did just one bathroom, but I figured they might want like their own private area and not have to share with all the elves or guests that they would have an abundance of. So, but the bed I kind of struggle with. I was looking at different options, and I didn't really like the wood post, and so I didn't go with the plaid, even though that was my favorite ideally. And I actually end up going with this one here. It was a little bit different. I don't think it screams Christmas, but I think Mrs. Claus would definitely like it. Excuse the barking puppy. But yeah, and then of course another Christmas tree and a couple of dressers, and I almost just put one dresser, but I figured they would have two. They have a lot of winter clothes, and so they wouldn't want, that takes up a lot of space. And since I didn't do like a closet or anything, and then just a couple of chairs to sit and relax, and then I put down the rabbit box, I think, in there. Yeah. And then here it was kind of looking blah, and so I just put some decorations on the dresser, and then I put the snowmen along there as well to add a little bit of decorations. And then I think I go in and put some garlands as well. I think that's what they're called. I'm kind of having a brain fart, but like I said, I didn't decorate too much. I was kind of over it at this point. I just wanted to get done. I was getting tired, and this is a lot. Decorating is probably my least favorite part of Christmas. I like Christmas Day and cookies and watching people open their presents, things like that. But actually decorating for Christmas is not my favorite. I have to be honest, and it's not my favorite thing in the world. I remember, my mom loves Christmas, and she would always want to decorate, but she would be so precise about it. And so you would put ornaments on the tree, and she would go back and fix it. And so it was like, just leave my ornaments alone. But she's like, no, there was empty space, or those were too close together, or, which I look back on it and I kind of laugh at it now, but I remember it was so frustrating as a kid. I just wanted to be happy and decorate, but she was such a perfectionist, and she was just like, no, it has to be like this. So, but Christmas is definitely one of her favorite holidays, and so I enjoy it too. I definitely enjoy it, and I miss, having it with my sisters and my mom and such. Now that we're all older and have our own families, it's definitely harder to kind of get together, but that's okay. And this year, is tough for everybody. But like I said, I'm kind of starting a new tradition with my husband of just staying home in our jammies and relaxing and playing games and snacking and not having to worry about going anywhere and getting all dressed up or anything like that. And he's been really good about it, so that's always a plus too when you're on the same page. So and I did these spandrels in here as well, which I really liked, and then I opened it up across for the kitchen, which I don't know, it just kind of broke up the monotony of the wallpaper, which I thought looked really nice. And then of course you have an entryway tree as well. And now my favorite part is the kitchen, and so she has double everything. She has double fridge, she has double stove, and she has double sinks. Mrs. Claus is spending a lot of time in the kitchen. She needs everything to be up to date, and she needs a lot of stuff, you know. She's got a lot of items for those cookies and those cakes and everything she's baking. So this is definitely her domain, and I love how it turned out. I love this green color I found for the counters and the cabinets. I think it's perfect with the white, and it breaks up the red. And yeah, I'm just really, really happy with it, and how it looks. I think it's nice and clean, which Mrs. Claus would definitely keep a clean kitchen. I definitely see her doing that and just wanting it nice and neat and organized and everything like that. So I absolutely, like I said, love how it turned out, and I would want this kitchen. I would love this kitchen. If I had this kitchen, I would spend a lot more time baking. Let's put it that way. You know, lots of counter space, so you have a lot of space to move around and spread out. And then, of course, she has her cupcake machine. She's got to bust out those cupcakes for all her elves, and you know, Santa loves his sweets too. And I bet he likes cupcakes just as much as he likes cookies. So, yeah. Anyway, just absolutely love, love, love this kitchen, and I think it's super cool. And then down here we do a big dining area. I could see, you know, the elves coming in and having a meal with them, and just kind of just a nice entertaining area. Or you know, they might invite over. I want to kind of make them friends with like the season sims I created. I think that would be really cool. I think that kind of goes hand in hand, especially, you know, winter would be a good friend to them, and just like I said, just kind of entertain and have people in and out, and elves in and out constantly. Like, I can definitely see that. And I did go in with these guys, and I made them ageless and immortal, and gave them a bunch of different traits and such. And it was frustrating. I was trying to figure out how to make him Father Winter, and I won't know if it worked until I like start playing in the save file. But I finally, because I have MC Command Center, so I went in and was giving him different traits and such, and I couldn't find one that said is Father Winter. You know, they have is Gardener, is Nanny, is Butler, is Grim Reaper, all those. And so I tried to type it in, and it wouldn't go. And so I finally looked it up, and you have to cheat his career as Father Winter, and then cheat a trait through the game. And so hopefully I did it right, and hopefully it works, and he'll be Father Winter for my game once I play in the save file. So, and now just a little bit more decorations. For the table, I did do these two items here. I know they're not Christmas, you know, Hanukkah, and is it Kwanzaa? I apologize in advance if I'm not being correct, but I figured Santa would kind of honor the other winter holidays as well. And so that's why I ended up putting those candles on the table, just kind of as an honor to other traditions that and other celebrations that people have. I think he would definitely do that, and so that's why they're there. I know that they're for other holidays, but I wanted to include them here as well. So that's, like I said, that's why I put them down. And yeah, sorry, I'm kind of ignorant on the other holidays. You know, they don't really. That's the one thing that frustrates me. I wish, you know, our schools and such weren't so heavily one-sided, and they would teach you about the different holidays objectively. But I know, you know, it's such a controversial thing, and people just get so upset by it. But anyway, as you can see, we are on to our walkthrough, so I'm going to leave you here to enjoy the walkthrough and then the screenshots. Again, please let me know what you think, any tips or tricks, and I hope you guys are having a great day, or if you already had your Christmas and you're watching this on a different day, I hope you had a great Christmas and you're going to enjoy the new year, and we will see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye.